All right, friends. So we have completed step 1 of playing a game of Moonstone, which is to make a board that we both find aesthetically pleasing, that is open in the center. Second step is to select our forces, which we've also already done. Starting with Bill's selections, we have Quack, Tabby, Sir Guillemot Poppycock, Fritz, Gertrude the Fairy Hunter, and Agatha Tavernfrau. Agatha the Tavernfrau, I guess. And then on my side, we've got Doug the Flatulent, Beaky Bobby, Herbert Growbottom, Portly Pete, Shabaroon, and the Goblin King. Step is to grow moonstones. So one player, I'm going to do this here, take 7 D4s, and we hold them about 12 to 16 above the very center of the board, and release. And then at that point, if Bill does not like the arrangement, he can scoop them up and he can drop, or Bill's drop. Yeah, now I could pick them up and do it one last time, but I'm fine with this. I'm okay with it. So we're going to keep it. We're going to roll off to see who's going to deploy first. I got a 3.
And a 4.
He got a 4. From that roll, you can choose to be the early bird or have the initiative. If you are the early bird, you get to pick the table edges and you get to deploy the first model. Your deployment zone is 10 inches from your edge. Bill is electing to be the early bird, which means that when we get down to it, I should have the initiative. This is our final deployment. It is an alternating, so early bird goes first and then the initiative player, and then back and forth until they're all placed. So then we move into the replenish step, where every character gets an energy token for every blue dot they have left on their health bar. All of these circles represent wounds. The blue ones also happen to represent energy, which is your action points. It's your stuff for your action economy to be able to do things during the model's activation. On the first turn, I have the initiative, so we don't roll off. So Beaky Bobby is a weakling, so he has to spend 2 energy instead of the normal 1 to harvest something. Notice that the D4 has a number on it because it's dice. That represents the depth of the Moonstone, which is how many harvest actions you have to perform to get it into your possession. You automatically pick it up at 1. I had to spend 2 energy per. I have 4 energy, so I harvested it up twice. Somebody else will have to pick it up. Then I can use my free action to jog, ending there, and that ends Beaky Bobby's activation. Play then passes to Bill. Agatha, the Tavernfrau, is going to activate. She's in base contact with an obstacle that is 1 inch thick or less. So she's going to spend 2 energy to traverse to the other side of it, and then use her jog, which is 0 energy, to move 4 inches, and spending her last energy to step 1 inch towards the Moonstone. So I will activate my Goblin King, who's going to jog up to here in base to base with. And then, yes, he is a weakling, so his harvest actions cost +1. So we'll spend 2 of our actions to pick up that Moonstone, and then 1 of our actions to step forward 1 inch. Fritz, the swordsman, will be up next. Jogging up, and then going to take a step. And spending 2 actions to dig that Moonstone up from a 3 to a 1. I'm going to go with Portly Pete next, who's going to jog up and take a step. Ending here with 2 energy left on him. Abby, the librarian, will be up next. And since we haven't properly mentioned it yet, these are your options for actions: jog, step, traverse, harvest, use an active ability, an arcane ability, or a melee attack. Your active abilities, I think, are these ones above the line. Your others, your arcanes, are the ones below. So yeah, and then a melee attack. You can do them more than once, you just got to have the energy to pay for it. So the librarian is going to use an ability where what does it cost?
Siphon. 0.
0 energy, siphon. Going to flip an arcane card and then get to redistribute that much energy from him to herself. Flip. So 1 gets to take 1 energy off. Then going to go for a little jog, and then 2 energy spent for 2 step actions. Will get him to the Moonstone with 1 action left with which to harvest and bring that thing up 1 depth level from a 4 to a 3. I'm going to go with Doug the Flatulent next. Doug will have a jog and then all three of his energy to step towards the Moonstone. Not quite getting to it, but getting pretty close. Quack's going to jog and triple step just in the frame of the gatehouse. I'm going to have Herbert Growbottom over here go next. Going for a jog and then spinning it's 4 energy for 4 steps. Mon will jog and then step. 2 right there. Shabaroon is my last activation, and he's going to just jog and step. Jogging and then taking 2 steps. Gertrude jogs up, steps up, and harvests 1, bringing it from depth 4 to depth 3. And that's it for all of the activations. In the discard step, we remove any unused energy tokens, and then we reset to turn 2. Now when we roll off for turn 2, I don't automatically go first. We roll off, but I get a +2 to the dice roll. So I got a 3. 3 will be to 1. Let's go. Good thing we don't need that many dice. Shabaron is going to jog up 4 and as a weakling that he is, spend all of his energy to get this Moonstone out of the ground. Agatha is going to be up first for Bill, and he is going to try to entice Shabaron. For the arcane action, Bill, the activator, will draw cards equal to his arcane, modified by my evasion. So my evade is -1, his arcane is 3, so he draws 2. As the defender against the arcane, I always draw 6. As the activator, Bill lays a card from his hand face down and declares its number and color. They're 1, 2, 3, and pink, green, blue. And then I can either say okay, in which case it happens, or I can call bluff. I'm absolutely going to call bluff on Bill.
Okay, it is 2 pink.
Okay, so then the ability will happen. That pulls him 4 inches over. Because that was legit, thing took place. He can use the ability again using what he has left in his hand, and then we go through the same steps again at no cost. No energy for the second time.
I will pass.
He will pass. Okay. With her remaining energy, she will pick up the Moonstone. I'm going to activate Doug the Flatulent next. He's going to jog. After his movement, Bill gets the opportunity to take a reaction step, so he's going to spend 1 of her energy to step away 1. Then going to spend 2 to charge, moving 4 inches directly towards my target, which is Gertrude, and then my next action will be a melee. So as the attacker, I draw a number of cards equal to my melee stat +2. So I have a melee stat of 4, and then +2 to 6 cards. Step is we each select a card from our hand and place it face up on the table. I'm doing a falling swing, he's doing a sweeping cut. So we've done that. Then if you have duplicates of that card in your hand, you can lay them down with it. So what happens here is I've got this, so I'm going to have 3, 6, and then +2 for my charge for a total of 8 damage. He is going to hit me for 2 damage. So Bill opted to replace his sweeping cut with his signature move, which will reduce the amount of damage that he deals against my attack. So I will only take 1, and then you've got...
Use that falling swing.
No, still 2.
Yeah,
still 2. 8 damage will bust her down and remove her from play. Fritz will spend 1 energy to intimidate me, which will drop my arcane by 2, and then make me a predictable combatant. So I have to do combat with my hand revealed. Fritz is going to jog himself further into engagement. So Fritz will have a total of 5 melee cards in his hand because he is distracted because of multiple opponents. So he will thrust. I only have the falling swing in my hand, so he's going to deal 2 damage there. I'm going to activate Herbert Growbottom next, who's going to throw a heal over there at Shabaroon, who's within 8 inches of him. Quick correction, I had the cards mixed up. It's not Herbert who's healing, it's Beaky Bobby who's had to use his jog to get up, and then everything else stays the same. I'm going to try to heal again, this time on Doug. So I shall lay down my card and say blue 1. He bluffs me out. So it will go off. That'll heal Doug for 2. Do it again for free because he called a bluff and I was telling the truth. So I can pick a new target, which will be Shabaroon. And we'll go again. Blue 1.
I'm calling your bluff. Ha!
Heals for 2. Gonna activate the Librarian next, who's gonna try to siphon some energy off the big guy. 1. You putting Tabby to 3 energy, which she will use to harvest up that Moonstone. Herbert, for real now, is gonna jog over and harvest up that Moonstone. So Gio will move up, jog up, and then take a swing at Doug. He's drawn his 5 or 6 cards. I've got my 3 because I am distracted, and that's okay. Cards down. Rising attack. Then switch to my upgrade for rising attack. So I will deal 2 damage plus 1 because it is so piercing. And then he will deal 3 to me as well because he has plus 1 because of, or plus 2 because of impact. Good old Portly Pete's gonna be next for me. He's gonna jog and then take as many steps as he can. Ending there. Jogging up through the gatehouse is, what's his name? Quack. Stepping to get to the Moonstone and harvesting once. Goblin King is my last activation, who's gonna jog out and then step as far as he can. Ending right there. Round 3, I get plus 1 to the roll. I got a 3 to his 5. It's going to activate. So I've got a thrust to his sweeping cut. End up taking 3. He will end up taking 1 because I'm a weakling. And then I can make a reactionary step, which I will do. Spend one of Shabaroon's energy to make a reactionary step and step away out of engagement.
1, 2, 6.
Fritz will then swing at Doug.
7.
High guard.
So high guard, I deal 2 plus 3 because of slicing, and takes none.
Lacking another anything to do to stop that, he is killed. Gonna jog to the middle and harvest 1. So Shabaroon's gonna jog over and step to put him just at the max of his 8-inch range to try to use Goblin Luck to try to make her catastrophe trigger. 8 arcane cards here, and I'm going to lay mine down and say pink 3.
So if either the pink or the 3 is wrong, I get catastrophe.
Correct.
But if you are right and I call bluff, you get to put another one down.
I can potentially do it again. I got 8 cards.
You had 8 cards. I'm gonna have to call bluff. Pink 3.
So that will go off, trigger her catastrophe, and deal 2 damage to her. Quack is going to harvest and then try to get as far away as possible. Okay, here we go.
Rising attack.
I have a falling swing. And I have another falling swing in my hand.
And I have another rising attack.
So that's going to be 6,
I take 6.
7 damage to you because it's whatever my halberd needs. Impact. Yep. So 7 damage.
2.
I will take a grand total of 1 damage there because my ramshackle armor reduces it by 1. He will take enough to kill her. 2 actions remaining. I will then pick up this Moonstone and then step back away. Agatha, going for a jog, and gonna harvest 2. Leaves her with a single energy. Herbert is gonna try to wither Fritz. Right, we've drawn our arcane cards. I'm going to lay down and say pink 2.
What is this gonna do?
X plus 1 damage. Magical damage.
I'm going to say okay.
Okay, so it will deal 3 damage to you. Herbert will then jog and step. Ending here. Again, when you're carrying a Moonstone, your jog action is reduced by 2 inches. So he's with a jog and a step, he's got 3 inches. Poppycock gonna move towards Shabaroon. And final placement. Last up for me in the round will be Beaky Bobby. Bobby's gonna be healing Shabaroon. Gonna spend my last 2 actions to go for another heal with a blue 2.
I'm gonna call your bluff.
Okay, bluff goes off.
Yes. So I replace
Beaky Bobby will then jog away. 2 right there. Sorry, correction. Last up for me is the Goblin King, who's just going to scurry away. Ending here, and now we go to the initiative, which is just a straight roll this time. I got a 3, he got a 4. Poppycock is going to make a swing. We've drawn our cards for this melee. I'm going to go for it right here and spend an energy out of order to draw 2 more cards. High Guard.
Rising attack.
And High Guard will activate my signature. Fuddle Muddle.
What'd you call me?
A Fuddle Muddle will take him out. We'll then pick that up. We're going to activate Herbert, who is going to try to wither. So we've got our cards drawn. I'm going to go with a pink 2.
What do you need?
Pink, just any pink card. Pink X.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that'll be 3 damage to him. Then jog for his 2 and take a step. Moving up to try to heal Poppycock. He's going to call a blue 2 and I'm going to allow it. After his heal, I'm going to reactionary to step away an inch because I know that he's got some blinding powders that I don't want to deal with. And he will then step back. Comes to me, I'm going to activate Portly Pete. Now that I'm in position, melee cards have been drawn. I have... Hold on one second. I'm prepared. Bill has his prepared. I'm playing a Falling Swing.
Low guard.
Okay, his Moonstone goes down right there. And then it's to me. Fritz moving up 6. Okay, so we're going to activate the king, who will, after crunching through some things there's no point in continuing because there's no way that either of us can break the draw. So, correction, we do need to play this out because it will go to a sudden death round if we're tied at the end of turn 4. There's nothing that I can do in these last 2 activations that's going to be impactful in any way. I do need to move the Goblin King. We'll go to an initiative roll. Got a 5.
6.
3. Cards are drawn. Choices are made.
Okay. Swing.
Low guard.
So I will fall swing again.
I'll low guard again.
Think you can do that?
Jim picks up the Moonstone, and good game. Thanks so much for tuning in, hanging out while we played some Moonstone. I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day.